Hello everyone! Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, our tutorial that might sound a bit serious, but we will make it fun and easy to understand. We're talking about inflation. If you have any questions or fun stories about how inflation has impacted in you, I love to hear them in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more fun and informative content. Let's get started. Good day everyone, my name is Michelle Almudel. Today, we will discuss the topic of inflation. In my presentation, I will cover the definition of inflation, understandability of inflation, inflation gainers, and demand pull inflation. So, inflation is generally used to mean any sustained or continuing increase in prices. Inflation is not monopoly of the Philippines. It is universal experience of all countries, both developed and developing. And inflation is a sustained rise in the average level of prices. Notice the word sustained inflation does not mean a short-term increase in prices. It means that prices are rising over the prolonged period of time. So, sa rate kung saan tumataas ang mga presyo ng goods and services na nagriresulta ng pagbaba ng mga customer. In Germany during the early 1920s, Figure 1, Annual Inflation Rate 1984-1985. Noong 1984, ang inflation ay labis na mataas, lalo na sa mga food. Tumaas ito ng 53.8%. Sa 1985, ang rate ng inflation ay bumaba ng malaki. Samantalang ang overall food prices ay tumaas ng 22.3%. At ang mga presyo ng non-food ay tumaas ng 24%. A period of hyperinflation sa Germany kung saan ang presyo ng goods and services ay tumataas ng mabilis. Undesirability of inflation. Economic plans and policies are intended to improve the standards of living of people. It means, among the other things, that the people, given the incomes that they have, it means that the people shall be able to buy better quality food, live in better houses, send their children to school, among other things. And it refers to the general increase in prices of goods and services over time na maaaring magkaroon ng negative effects on the economy and people's quality of life. First, people who have fixed income, tulad ng mga retirees, sila ay tumatanggap ng pension na hindi tumataas kasabay ng inflation because the income they receive now will be able to buy less than before. Ito ay nagdudulot ng pagbawas ng kanilang kapakanan sa economy and quality of life. Secondly, pension benefits from system, tulad ng Social Security System, SSS or Government Service Insurance System, GSIS, kapag ang pension or benefits ay hindi agad na ibigay at ang presyo ay tumaas, the pensioners will suffer a net loss. Table 1 Inflation Rate based on GNP Implicit Price Index 1974 to 1985, illustrating how inflation can change significantly over time. Tulad noong 1985, the inflation rate reached 49.1%, indicating the severe loss of purchasing power for consumer during that period. CPI is Consumer Price Index. IR is inflation rate. So, paano nga natin makukuha ang inflation rate? So, CPI 2 minus CPI 1 divides CPI 1 times 100. Ang CPI 2, ito ay year new. At ang CPI 1, ito ang year old. Halimbawa na lang ng nasa table na yan. Yung year 1974 and 1975. Para makuha natin yung inflation rate, kailangan natin ang implicit price index. Yun yung consumer price index, yung CPI. So, year new minus year old divide year old times 100. 167.3 minus 154.7 divide 154.7. Ilan? 12.6. So, ang 12.6, i-divide natin sa 154.7. And then, ito times natin sa 100. And then, yun na yung inflation rate. Ang inflation rate is 8.1. Dito na tayo sa figure number 2. The implicit price index is a tool used to track changes in prices. The base year is 1972 is 100 and the index values for subsequent years. Nagpapakita kung gaano kalaki ang pagbabago ng mga presyo kumpara sa taon na iyon. Kung makikita nyo sa table 2, noong 1974, ang purchasing power ng piso ay 1.38. Noong 1985 naman, bumaba ito sa 0.28 na nangangahulugang ang piso ay makakabili ng mas kaunti kumpara noong 1974. Ang pagbagsak ng sa purchasing power ay isang direktang result ng inflation na nagdudulot ng pagbaba sa kapakanan ng economy ng mga individual habang mas kaunti ang kanilang kayang bilhin. Para makuha natin ang purchasing power, need natin ng formula ulit. So, CPI 2 minus CPI 1 divide 1 plus IR. For example, 1974 to 1975. So, 167.3 minus 154.7 divide 1 plus 8.1. So, 12.6 divide 9.1 is equals to 1.38. So, dyan naman sa figure number 3, purchasing power of the peso 1975 to 1985, makikita nyo kung ano yung pagbabago ng bawat taon, kung ano ba yung kahalagahan ng peso ng mga year na yon. Inflation gainers, just as there are losers in an inflationary situation, there are also gainers. However, taking into account the numbers of those who lose out during inflation, there are significantly greater number of people who will register the gainers during inflation. The inflation gainers, ito ay tumutukoy sa mga asset o pamumuhunan ng karaniwang tumataas ang halaga o nagbibigay ng mas magandang kita sa panahon ng inflation, tulad ng people with flexible income, like business owners, benefit from inflation kapag tumaas ang presyo ng mga produkto na binibenta nila. Maaari silang kumita ng mas malaking pera o maraming pera basta't may demand para sa kanilang mga produkto. Halimbawa, kung ang isang negosyo ay nagbebenta ng produkto sa halagang 100 at itinaas ang presyo nito sa 120 pesos, tumaas ang kanilang kita. Second is speculators. These are individuals who are good at predicting market trends. Bumibili sila ng goods at lower prices at ibinebenta ang mga ito sa mas mataas na presyo. Kadalasan mga item ay alahas at appliances. Maaari din ang lupa. So, the last is debtors. Mga tao na may utang ay maaari makinabang mula sa inflation kung ang kanilang mga utang ay hindi nag-a-adjust para sa inflation. Halimbawa, kung ang isang tao ay humiram ng 10,000 para bumili ng appliances at nagkaroon ng inflation, ang halaga ng pera ay bumababa paglipas ng panahon o taon. So, ang debtor ay magbabayad pa rin ng 10,000 kahit na bumaba pa ang halaga. One type of inflation is called demand pull inflation. Inflation is said to be demand pull if those who buy goods and services desire to purchase goods and services greater than what the economy can produce. In other words, excess demand for commodities tend to push prices up. Ang demand pull inflation ay nangyayari kapag ang kagustuhan ng mga tao ay bumili ng mga goods and services ay mas mataas kaysa sa kayang i-produce ng economy. Sa madaling salita, ang labis na demand para sa goods and services ay nagiging sanhi ng pagtaas ng mga presyo. Kapag may pagtaas sa demand, ang mga presyo ay karaniwang tumataas at ang output ng mga goods and services ay tumataas din. Gayunpaman, kung ang economy ay mas full employment na ang epekto sa pagtaas ng demand ay isasalin lamang sa pagtaas ng mga presyo. So, sa figure 4, demand full inflation. Mula sa figure na yan, makikita na ang pagtaas ng demand na ipinapakita sa paglipat ng demand curve mula sa D1 patungo sa D2 ay nagre-result sa pagtaas ng presyo mula sa P1 patungo sa P2. Makikita na ang pagtaas ng presyo ay mas malaki kaysa sa pagtaas ng output ng goods and services, na ipinapakita sa pagtaas ng dami ng mga goods mula Q1 patungo sa Q2. Ang demand pull inflation ay nangyayari sa maraming iba't ibang sitwasyon. Ang una sa mga ito ay may kinalaman sa pera. Kung walang pagtaas ng supply ng pera, wala pangunahing inflation ang tatagal. Ang labis na supply ng pera sa secular ay tiyak na nagdudulot ng pagtaas ng mga presyo. Ang teoryang nag-uugnay sa pagtaas ng mga presyo sa supply ng pera ay tinatawag na quantity theory of money. Kung bakit nagkakaroon ng demand pull inflation, nangyayari ito sa panahon ng cyclical booms, kung saan ang magagandang panahon ay nag-uudyok ng mataas na pamumuhunan. Ang mga pamumuhunang ito sa pamamagitan ng multiplier ay lumilikha ng malaking pagtaas sa demand para sa goods and services na nagiging sanhi ng pagtaas ng mga presyo. On my part, if you have any additional information or insight to share, please feel free to add them.
So, hello everyone, so I'm the second reporter and I will discuss the quantity theory of money. In general, the greater the volume of transaction in the economy, the higher level of money required to finance the transaction. In the JNP rises, it is but natural that transaction requirements for money also rise. So, when the general prices level also rises, the value of GNP money also increase. Meaning, kapag ang GNP ng isang bansa ay mas mataas, nagpapakita lamang ito na mas maraming produkto at serbisyo ang ginawa, mas maraming transaksyon ang nangyari, at mas maraming pera yung kailangan upang pondohan ng bawat transaksyon at para maging normal ang dalay nito. So, next, the connection between money and price and quite complex. So, money does not affect the prices directly in some mysterious way, but only through influence on spending. Spending in turn can be rises by moderate amounts even when the money supply is constant. As an individual and the business firm economize on their cash, and as the packet of ideal cash balance are drawn into circulation. So ang pera ay hindi basta-basta nakaka-apekto sa presyo ng mga bilihin, kundi kung paano ating gagastusin ito. So, ibig sabihin, hindi basta-basta tataas ang presyo ng isang bilihin dahil lang meron tayong dagdag na pera. So, ang pagtaas ng presyo ay nangyayari dahil mas maraming tao ang gustong bumili ng produkto at serbisyo. So, halimbawa nito, meron kang 5,000. Hindi yung 5,000 mo, kung hindi mo gagastusin, hindi mo magbabago ang presyo ng isang bilihin. Pero if gusto mong gastusin yung 5,000 mo, halimbawa, bibili ka ng bagong cellphone, maaaring tumaas ang demand ng mga cellphone. Dahil mas maraming tao yung gustong bumili nito, mas malaki yung tsansa na magtaas sila ng presyo. So, sa spending naman, ang paggastos ay maaaring tumaas kahit hindi nadadagdagan yung supply na iyong pera. Example nito, halimbawa sa isang linggo, meron kang budget na 1K. Pero yung 1K mo, kaya mong ubusin sa 2 araw. So, tumataas yung paggastos mo pero yung dagdag na pera mo ay hindi tumataas. So, yun yung pinagkaiba nila. So, next move on the next slides. The MV equals PQ. M is the supply of the money, B is the velocity of the money, the number of times the average peso is spent, the final goods and services. P is the general price level, or the average price at which each unit of physical output is sold. Q is the physical volume of goods and services produced. So, ang MB at equals PQ are show the relationship between money, price, and production, na kung saan ang M, ang supply ng pera dito sa ating ekonomiya, and then the B is yung bilis ng paggamit ng pera, and then yung P is yung price ng mga product, and then yung Q is the production of the product. So, ang M at B is magkasama at ito yung nagpapakita ng relationship ng pera at sa paggamit nito, and then yung P naman and Q is magkasama dahil nagpapakita sila ng kung paano napuproduce ang isang product at kung magkano ang presyo nito. So let's move on the next slide, which is increased demand. The counter implication rate has been restrained to very low level up to 3 months ago, have been slowly but constantly raising the last 3 months. Rising concern in the part of the government policymaker, private sector forecast both implication rate by rising by 6.0% this year from 0.7% in the previous year, and is expected to rise further to 8.0% in the next year. The inflationary pressure at the last 3 months has been attributed by the central bank to the resurgence of the customer demand by rising increased purchasing power, demand pull, and the supply the bottleneck as well as speculative activities. Parts of the inflationary expectation also come from the increase in the price of gasoline and other petroleum products to increase the important costs and crudes. Ang pagtaas ng gasolina ay isang malaking bahagi ng pagtaas ng ating inflation. Dahil sa pagtaas ng presyo ng krudo sa merkado, napipilitan ding itaas ng mga kumpanya ng langis ang kanilang presyo, at ang resulta nito ay ang pagtaas ng mga presyo ng pangunahing bilihin tulad ng pagkain at transportasyon. So next, the modern version of the quantity theory of money. The crude of the quantity theory of money has been modified to suit the need of modern times. It has regained followers in more sophisticated form. Milton Friedman, a Nobel Prize winner in economics based on the University of Chicago, has been revived the theory postulating that M and P are directly related. Believers in the modern version are called monetarists. They do not necessarily accept the constancy of velocity of money. They admit the possibility of changes, and they expect they believe that B can be reasonably be predicted. Basically, they assert the degree of control of M helps to control the level of G and P, and this way help put less emphasis on the direct relationship of P and M. They hold the views, however, the monetary policy occupies the central place in overall economic management. Monetary sa quantity theory of money ay naniniwala na sa dami ng pera sa economy, ito ay pangunahing nagtutulak ng pagtaas ng presyo. Ibig sabihin, kung mas maraming pera ang nasa sirkulasyon, mas mataas ang presyo ng bilihin. At kapag naman kakaunti ang pera, mas mura ang bilihin. Para sa mga monetaries, ang pangunahing dahilan ng inflation ay ang pagtaas ng supply ng pera. Para sa kanila, ang gobyerno ay dapat mag-ingat sa paglabas ng pera dahil maaari itong magdulot ng inflation at pagkasira ng ating economy. So, important sa mga monetaries na mapanatili na kontrolado yung paglabas ng pera para maiwasan natin yung inflation. So, last but not the least, the cost push inflation. A different kind of inflation occurs from shift in the supply curve. It is believed that such as shift usually result from increases in the cost of production of inputs and raw materials, increase in the monopoly markup, and increase the wages of cost. Cost push inflation is the type of inflation where increase the cost of production push price up. So, ang cost-push inflation ay nangyayari kapag ang isang kumpanya ay napipilitang magtaas ng presyo dahil sa pagtaas ng gastos ito sa production, sa mga materials at sa pagpapasahod at iba pang gasto sa production. So, sa next slides, makikita natin yung figure 5, which is cost-push inflation graph. Makikita natin dito yung P, which price, Y is quantity or product, so S the supply, and the demand. So, kung makikita natin, merong P1 and Y1 and S1. So, sila yung unang presyo ng product. Sila yung original na presyo ng product at yung supply ng product. So, nagkakaroon siya ng P2, S2, and Y2 dahil sa cost-push inflation or pagtaas ng produkto. And kung makikita natin, yung P2 and Y2 is tumaas kasi sa Y1 at P2 dahil tumaas din yung presyo at production ng product. So, yung S2 is tumaas yung pagka-curve kasi sa pagtaas ng gastos ng production. And then yung demand, yung linya ng demand ay nagpapakita ng relationship between price and the product can sold. So, that's all. Sana may natutunan ang bawat isa sa atin and thank you sa inyong cooperation. That's all.
Hello everyone! So nandito tayo ngayon upang ituro ko sa inyo kung ano nga ba ang measurement of price increases. So sabi dito, there are at least 4 commonly used measures of price increases. So these are the Consumer Price Index or CPI, Retail Price Index RPI, Wholesale Price Index WPI, and then the Stock Price Index or SPI. So dito alamin natin mamaya kung ano nga ba ang kahalagahan ng apat na measurement of price increases. So ngayon dumako muna tayo sa first na measurement of price increases, which is the Consumer Price Index or CPI, na gaya nga ng sabi ko sa inyo kanina. So ito ay it is the most popular and most used measure as it reflects that happens to living standards at most of us the consumers. So ang Consumer Price Index po, so ito po yung karaniwan na ginagamit natin upang alamin kung ano nga ba yung kahalagahan ng pagpili ng isang consumers. So, dumako naman po tayo sa Retail Price Index or RPI. So, it is designed to measure monthly changes of the prices at which retailers dispose of their goods to consumers and users. So, dito naman po, ang Retail Price Index, so ito naman po yung ginagamit natin upang ma-measure yung ating monthly changes of the prices. So, kumbaga ay, di ba, alam naman natin sa inflation, so there are times na talagang nagbabago yung ating o nagkakaroon ng monthly changes yung prices ng mga bilihin. So, gaya na lamang ng mga retailers, so sila syempre, pag kinuha nila dun sa mismong pinagkukunan nila, so hindi naman nila pwedeng ibenta ng ganun na lang din yung presyo dun sa kung ano yung presyo na dun sa pinagkunan nila. So ayun, nagkakaroon tayo ng monthly changes of the price. So next is Wholesale Price Index or which is the IPI. So ito naman po, it measures the monthly changes also in the general price level of commodities that flow into wholesale trade intermediaries in Metro Manila. So hence it measures price changes during trade turnover. So parang ganun lang din, so no, yung Wholesale Price Index nagkakaroon lang din siya ng monthly changes. So it or monthly changes in the general prices level of commodities. So next and last of our measurement of price increases is the Stock Price Index or which is the SPI. So it serves a measure of the changes in and trace the movement of average. So dito naman po natitrace natin yung paggalaw, yung movement nung ating average ng mga prices natin. So malalaman naman natin talaga nagkakaroon ng changes when it comes to the prices, lalo na sa iba sa kalabasan or dun sa Metro Manila. So talaga mahal ang mga bilihin, so nagkakaroon tayo ng pagtaas ng ating inflation. So next naman po ay dumako tayo sa ating Consumer Price Index for the Philippines. So sabi dito, weight used in the Consumer Price Index for the Philippines, National Capital Region or NCR, and for ours outside National Capital Region. So sabi dito yung commodity, so meron tayong commodity kung magkano sa Philippines, sa National Capital Region or sa NCR, and sa areas outside National Capital Region. So dito halimbawa dun sa all items natin sa Philippines ay meron siyang 100, sa National Capital Region 100, also sa ating areas outside National Capital Region is meron din tayong 100. So next is the food, beverage, and tobacco. So meron sa Philippines na 58.6, din sa National Region naman po ay meron tayong 48.15. So and then sa ating areas outside National Capital Region meron tayong 59.98. So dito pala nakikita na natin yung changes na or hindi pagkapantay-pantay ng ating mga consumer prices. So next is the clothing. Meron tayong 7.92 sa Philippines, 8.26 sa NCR, and the 59, so napakataas, 59.98 outside the NCR. So ganun din sa housing and repairs, sa fuel, serves, miscellaneous. So ayan, makikita talaga natin yung consumer prices index for this sa Philippines, NCR, and the outside of the NCR. So consumer price index, so dito sa table 4 nung 1974 to 1985, and then sa 1978 to 1978 equals 100. So dun sa item natin na 1974 to 1985, so nakikita natin dyan yung pagbabago, yung ating consumer price index. So dito sa table 5, so ayan, in 1974 to 1985. Ayan po yung ating consumer price index for all items by region. Next is the index number. So an index number is a statistical measures designed to show changes in group of related variables. So the price, quantity, value with respect to time, geographic location, or other characteristics such as income, profession, and the price, quantity, and value relative. So yung ating price relative, so ito yung simplest kind of index numbers that called relative. So yung price relative, PR, quantity relative, QR, value relative, or VR. So ito po, ang formulas po natin na gagamitin is PR equals PN divide D or over D PO. So sabi nga po kanina, so yung price po ay, yung PN ay price during a given year, PO is price during base year. So QR so yung QR po natin, quantity relative, tas yun po yung PR ay price relative. QR equals QN over QO. So yun nga po yung kanina, quantity during a given year and the quantity during the base year. Yung VR naman po equals VN or value during a given year, and the VO is the value during the base year. So the formula for value relative may be transformed as follows. So since value is equals to price times the quantity, so then the VR value during a given year over the value during the base year. So next po natin, so ang next po is the halimbawa po ay the price of commodity in 1986 so and 1988, so were 2 pesos and 2.40 pesos respectively. So taking 1986 so as the base year of the 1988 as the given, so find the price relative and interpret the result. So ang atin pong base year is yung 1986, which is dito 2 pesos. So therefore our base 1988 po yung ating during the base year. So ayun nga po, substituting the values formula, so equals PR over the QN equals QN over QO, so equals 2.40 2.40 divide 2.40, so divide 2.40 divide 2, so equals 1.2 siya, ano. So example, multiplying the result by 100 to change the figure to percent equals 120%. So finally, dropping the percent sign as index numbers do not carry unit. So lalagyan lang natin siya ng percentage, ano, dun sa ating makukuhang result. So summarizing year, price relative, so 1986 100 and 1988 is the 120. So for the interpretation in the language of index numbers, the figure corresponding to the base year is usually equal to 100. So this is the one basic rule to remember. So in interpreting index number, we get the difference between a given number. Therefore 120 minus 100 equals to 20. So isa-substitute lang, ma-minus lang natin siya, ano. So putting back the percent sign previously removed. So di ba sabi kanina, lalagyan natin siya ng percentage dun sa makukuha natin result. So 120 minus 100 equals 20. So plus add the percentage, so which is equals to 20%. So this figure means that the price of commodity rose by 20% from 1986 to 1988. So let's proceed naman guys sa price index number. So kung kanina ay measurement of price increases, so ngayon naman ay price index numbers. So guys, so there are 3 types of price index numbers, namely, so ayun, price number 1 is the price relative, number 2 is unweighted price index, and there are 2 categories, ano. Letter A, simple aggregative price index. Next is the average of price relative. So sa number 3 po natin, meron tayong weighted price index, list payers index, and the PAAS index. So the unweighted price index, so letter A, the commodity 0.10 per pound dun po sa nung 1987. So yan po yung ating PO or yung ating price during the base year. At ang atin naman pong price during a given year is 0.15 per pound. Ganon din po sa ating ano, sa ating next commodity 2. 2 per pickle and 1.50 sa PN. Next is 0.80 per liter starting PO and 1 per liter for PN. So next is 0.20 per dozen and 0.25 per dozen sa ating PN. So the formula for the sample aggregative price index. So ayun, substituting value into the formula. So is API or yung ating simple aggregative price index. So 0.15 plus 1.50 plus 1 point plus 0.25. so meron po tayo dong 3. Meron tayong 3. So 2.90 and then over 0.10 plus 2.0 plus 8.80 plus 0.20. So meron tayong 310. So 2.90 divide 3.10 equals to 0.935. So ang next naman natin, so let's first solve the last payers index or LI at the PAIC index o PI. To simplify our computation, let us show columns corresponding the terms in the formula. So dun po sa ating sa ating pong price during the base year. So meron po ditong 0.10, then dun sa ating naman pong quantity during the base year, meron naman po tayo ditong 80. Then dun sa price during the base year, meron naman 0.15, and quantity during the base year is 200. So dun po sa ating price during the base year at saka quantity during the base year, so meron po dong 8, 20, 40 and 20. So ipapag-add lang po natin siya para makuha po natin yung total, yung pinakang answer. So 8 plus 20 plus 40 plus 20, so equals 88 pesos. So doon naman po sa ating price during sa atin pong price during the given year, and then sa quantity during the base year, meron po dong 12, 15, 50 and 25. So pag in-add po natin siya, ang total po nito ay 102. Tapos dun din po sa ating kasunod, price during the given year in quantity, pati dun sa price during the base year and quantity during the base quantity during the given year. So lahat po yan ipapag-add lang po natin yan upang makuha po natin yung pinakang total. So 102 divide 88, or yung price during the given year divide the and quantity during the base year divide the price during the base year and quantity during the base year. So, yung kanina po is 102 yung ating price during given year divide 88. So, ipapag-divide lang po natin siya. So, 100 to divide 88 equals to 1.16 or 116%. Diba sabi kanina, let's add a percentage. Ano po doon sa ating magiging total? So, ang next naman po natin is the PAEK index. So, ayun. Ang sunod, ang makukuha naman po natin doon is ang atin naman pong isosolve, yung price during the given year, and then the and quantity, tapos yung ating pong price during base year, and then the quantity during the given year. So, ayun po yung kanina. So, 137 po yung ating given, and then the 110 is the during the base year. Siya yung base. So, 137 divide 110. So, 137.50, tapos i-divide lang natin siya dun sa 110 equals 1.25 or the 125%. So, dumako naman po tayo sa measures to curb inflation. So, the effects of inflation are felt by all income groups, some to a great degree, others less severely. While some people gain through inflation, the great majority of the citizenry lost out due to inflation. Serious inflation acts like a confiscatory tax on the incomes of most people, especially the low and fixed income and earners. So, next is the monetary policy. Light money situation is suggested, lessening money in circulation. Since inflation of this kind could be the result of an investment boom, so tight money policy means increasing the interest rates to inhibit investment. So, sabi po dun sa ating monetary policy, yung situation suggested para malisen yung pag-ikot ng ating pera, or dapat natin i-monitor yung inflation rate dito sa atin. So, next is measure to curb inflation, monetary policy din. So, ito rin yung kanina. It is the province of the central bank of the monetary authority. By means of this, the central bank is able to make the supply of money scarce or plentiful, as the overall national objectives would require the central bank has several tools of policy which it may use to control money supply, the most important of which are: first is the exercise of fiat authority to issue paper money. So, next is the control of the bank's reserve requirements, use of discounts or rediscount policy, use of open market operations, selective credit controls, and use of moral suasion. So, dumako naman po tayo sa fiscal policy. So, ang fiscal policy concern is with the utilization of public expenditure, taxation, and public debt, so as to achieve desired economic objectives. Fiscal policy is supposed to assist in the reduction of wild swings in economic activity and in the promotion of a stable growth of income over time, greater employment, and more equitable distribution of income and wealth. So, ayun guys, at yan nagtatapos ang ating video tutorial for today. So, hoping na meron kayong or meron kayong natutunan simula sa ating unang tagapagturo. So, ayun, anyway, please follow our YouTube channel to more details and more information. So, abangan nyo yung mga susunod na topic and discussions na aming i-upload. So, and yun lang. So, huwag natin kalimutan na suportahan ang aming YouTube channel. So, thank you.